The skew is probably one of the most versatile and useful tools a woodturner can learn to use. But like a lot of our other tools, there's a wide variety of different shapes and grinds that people prefer. Today, let me show you the grind I use on my skew and give you reasons why I like this grind, and more importantly, show you how I sharpen it, which is a skill that you can use for all different types of shapes. The skew I probably use the most is this Allen Lacer model, and I've got a variation of his grind on mine. But the key things you want to look for, whether you use a straight grind, a full curve, or my half straight at an angle and half curved, semi-curved, you want to do a few different things. You want to make sure that the blade is at the cutting edge is at the center of the blade. And that's actually a lot harder than you think when you're at the grinder, because it's very easy to bring one side farther down. And what that means is the skew will feel different whether you are shaving left side with the heel down or with a toe down, because the bevel will be different shapes. The other thing is the cutting edge you want to keep straight in line. And that too is slightly hard, because a lot of times if you're grinding a little bit too much on one side, you can get it to curve a little bit. Even though it looks like a smooth curve here, the blade itself might wander, and you'll never be able to get a straight cut when that happens. Me personally, I kind of like my bevel to be about 1.5 to 1.25 the thickness of the blade. So this blade right here is about 3/8. So I kind of like it to be, a little over a 1/2 inch from there to there. Now that means that I tend to ride my skew on the top of my turnings, whereas some people might ride it down a little bit lower with a shorter bevel. The other thing I like to do, and this is something that Allen Lacer instructs, is for this first half right here of your blade, sharpen it dead straight. And I will show you how to do that one in 1 second on the grinder. You want to get that nice and flat. But unlike Lacer's, who does it just at almost 90 degrees to the side, I like to add a little bit of an angle there. And then whenever I curve the rest of it, this total angle is about 70 degrees. The reason why is whenever you are planing cutting, you're only cutting below the center line most of the time. If you are peeling cutting, where I'm bringing it straight down over the top and the wood's just peeling off the top, you're using this half of the blade. Because I found that if I use any more than half a blade, it gets kind of grabby. Now the reason why I like to have it at an angle is because when I do peeling cuts, I can actually square up my blade on my tool rest, and when I cut straight down, it creates a perfect little dovetail that fits in my jaws perfectly, because that's mainly what I do with a peeling cut. If I'm just wasting away wood, I will actually turn my handle a little bit, which is a little bit more comfortable for me, and then when I make my peeling cut, the blade itself is at 90 degrees. But by having that angle, I have the option of either creating a slight dovetail or creating it perfectly flat, just by the backside. If I had it dead flat, it would be a lot harder to create that dovetail, because you can't bring this side of the blade inside the wood. So if you're going to reshape or regrind your skew, the first thing I like to do is blacken the whole thing. It just makes seeing a lot easier. Next, I come over to the grinder and I'm going to position it so that it touches, the grinding wheel will leave a scratch on my straight portion. I'm going to sharpen the straight first. So I come back over here and I create an angle, adjust everything until I can get the scratch pattern just perfect on my gouge. And as you can see right here, I'm not in the dead center, I'm a little bit high. So if I tighten everything up, I can then use the back of my handle to tap the bed. That'll lower it a little bit. So now test it again. Put it up there and manually just kind of move it back and forth. And now you can see my scratch pattern is taking up the full setting. I don't actually know what the angle of this is. I don't know what the distance here is. I just know now this scratch pattern is dead perfect. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to put my fist down on top of this. That will keep it flat on my tool rest. And I'm going to bring it straight up. And the angle of my handle out to the side creates this edge to be perfectly 90 degrees to my grinding wheel. And then just go lightly touch it and check. I touched a little bit high, so tap it. Check again. Pretty much perfect grind right there. So now I'm going to sharpen one side until all the black is gone. And all I'm doing is focusing on this portion right here. I've got a very light touch so that I'm not going to overheat it. Coming over, I notice I'm coming down a little bit more on the bottom than the top. So this time I'm going to give the top the bottom one more tap. And keep going. There we go. I have now the full shaving all the way up. I'm now going to do the same exact thing, except my handle is going to come back this way in order to get that to 90 degrees. Now once you're happy with both of the flats, you're still going to have black mark on either side. Now we're going to work on the curve. And I personally find the curve a lot harder. So the key is to create a pivot point on the blade and rotate it around. That pivot point is going to be my fist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to place it just like I had it when I was going straight across, and then I'm just going to rotate it around a single point on my fist using my lower hand. So I positioned it straight at the angle I like. I'm going to get it very close to touching the stone, and then I'm going to position my fist as a pivot point. Now I'm pressing down pretty hard enough to hold the chisel up, this big heavy one. I'm going to touch the blade off, and then I'm going to rotate the bottom of it, keeping that pivot point in the same spot. You do it right, you're going to get it pretty close. And it's same for the other side. Basically, you put your fist down, you line it up to the halfway point, you get it going, and then you rotate around your fist. Your bottom hand is creating that curve. And that right there creates a nice shape to your skews. Whether they're big or small, this is my preferred shaping. But this is not ready to use. You still have to hone it. And for that one, I have a little diamonds plate, but you can use just about any small thing. And the idea is you're going to pivot off of the bottom bevel you created, placing your sharpening edge right there, and then just keep it moving and just kiss your cutting edge a little bit. And see, the thing is, this is how I do most of my sharpening. Just kiss that edge every now and then, but never leaving the bottom bevel. And I can do this for 2 or 3 months. You know, when I'm using the skew, I'm doing this every 20 minutes or so, and I don't have to re-grind like I did there very often at all. You'll know you're done when you can see the slightest of shine on the base and the front edge. I don't know if we can see that. It just means you've touched it all the way across that blade, and it's extremely sharp right now. The last thing I will do is I will take my stone and keeping it at 90 degrees, really sharpen that tip up, because I use that tip quite a bit. Just run it down to make sure that you get this edge freshly sharpened too. And now you have yourself a sharp and nicely shaped skew. For today's bonus, I want to talk about one of my favorite design books for turning. Something I turn to time and time again. But before I show you that, let me ask you, if you've gotten anything out of this video at all, please like, favorite, subscribe, do all those social medias. That stuff really does help boost our channel and ensure some future success. And if you've learned quite a bit from either these daily series or one of the long form videos I'm more well known for, please consider visiting my website, wortheffort.com. I have a whole section there where you can support the channel or you can just read the articles. It's kind of just more information. Now, one of the books I return to time and time again is Turn Box's 50 Designs. It's by Chris Stott, and quite frankly, this is an excellent picture book for me. I use this for design inspiration because boxes are one of my favorite things to turn. If you haven't turned a box, go out this weekend and try it. They are just so much fun. They don't take up much wood. You can hold them in your hand. They make great gifts. They're just wonderful. Turn boxes are some of the most fun things I do. And this book gives you a lot of challenges. He does give you instructions on designs and stuff like that, but a lot of stuff he does. But towards the back, he has a feature of a lot of the high-end artists that do turnings. They do stuff, round boxes, stuff that's made out of coral. I mean, it's just really cool to look through for inspiration. And I tell you, this is one of the few books I pretty much have over in the corner over here that I'm flipping through almost every day. Turn Box's 50 Designs by Scott Evans. Check it out. You will really like it.